We've got a big Rams injury update. When could we see tight end Tyler Higbee back? We've got key matchups that will ultimately determine the Rams versus Bills Week 14 matchup, keys to victory, predictions, and more. That's coming up next on Locked On Rams.
You are Locked On Rams, your daily Los Angeles Rams podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
What is up, Ramily, and welcome to another episode of Locked On Rams, your daily podcast covering your Los Angeles Rams. Free and available wherever you get your podcasts. Locked On Rams, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. We're also available over on YouTube, so if you haven't yet, do me a huge favor, join the party, subscribe to the fastest growing Rams YouTube channel, hit that subscribe button, hit that notification bell, hit that like button, and also drop your score predictions down below. Bills, Rams, Week 14, who you got? Drop those score predictions. My name is Doug McCain. You can follow me on X and Instagram at DMAC_LA. I've been covering LA sports for over a decade, 24/7 sports, Bleacher Report, SI, Dodgers Nation. I also do NFL radio for Westwood One. Today I'm flying solo. No Travis Rogers today. The People's Champ will be back next week. We've got a jam-packed show. We got an injury update. Got the latest on Jared Verse, Alaric Jackson, Tyler Higbee. We're also going to give you the key matchups that will ultimately determine if the Rams can pull off the upset on Sunday. Got some predictions, got some more keys to a victory. But first, today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel. You can start the season with a big return on FanDuel. New customers can place a $5 bet, and you'll get started with $150 in bonus bets if you win your first $5 bet. Visit FanDuel.com to get started. All right, Ramily, lots to talk about. Let's get into it. I do first want to say, how about Kobe Turner? How about our guy Kobe Turner going on The Masked Singer? And now he's got a new nickname. His new nickname is Goo, because that was the creature, that was the character that he was in. So now we got a new nickname. It's the Conductor. It's Goo for Kobe Turner. Man, this guy can really sing. I mean, it is no joke. My man has some pipes. I need to see a holiday album from Kobe Turner. I need to see him re-record Ram It, at least. So, hey, how about our guy, Kobe Turner, making us all proud? That was really, really cool. Now, let's get into some injury updates. Jared Verse, the Rams' superstar rookie. He is the favorite to win the Defensive Rookie of the Year award. He has 4.5 sacks. He's been fantastic all season long. Sean McVay said today that Jared Verse is expected to play against the Buffalo Bills on Sunday. He was listed as questionable. He showed up on the injury report as questionable. He hurt his ankle a little bit in practice on Thursday, so he was limited because of that. Just tweaked that ankle a little bit, but he is going to be good to go. So they're going to need Jared Verse. You want him to continue to emerge. You want him to continue to compile stats so he can win that Defensive Rookie of the Year. But the biggest thing, the most important thing, is applying pressure and making big plays. You saw last week against the New Orleans Saints, he gets a Derek Carr. He forced that incompletion, and he really sealed that win that the Rams needed to have. So you need him out there and hopefully doing the same thing to Josh Allen. Now, another update on Alaric Jackson. So Alaric Jackson, he has been nursing a foot injury since last week. He did play against the Saints. He's just powering through this injury. He's expected to be good to go on Sunday as well. So he is playing through a little bit of injury. He is continuing to get treatment, but Sean McVay said that Alaric Jackson does plan and expect to play on Sunday, and he'll be starting at left tackle for the Rams. Now, the most interesting injury update has to do with Tyler Higbee. Tyler Higbee has missed the entire season. He was rehabbing, and he had a gruesome injury against the Lions. Dirty play. Now, I'm going to say his name. Doesn't even deserve it, but dirty play. And it was a gruesome injury. He suffered it in the Rams' wild card loss against the Lions earlier this year. And Tyler Higbee is going to be back pretty soon. Now, he won't be activated this week, but he did practice all 3 days. He was participating in all 3 practices, but it's going to be at the very least one more week before we see Tyler Higbee back returning into hopefully another big weapon for Matthew Stafford. He's always loved Tyler Higbee as a little safety valve. Higbee has been a rock for this organization for a long, long time. So, look, you really haven't got what you hope to get out of Colby Parkinson. Davis Allen has had his moments as a pass catcher, has lacked as a blocker at times. So, look, Higbee, if you can get him back and get him up to speed and he can provide quality and another weapon, and these guys who certainly knows the offense, he's well trusted, that's going to be a big get late in the season. So Higbee, don't expect to see him on Sunday, but will we see him on next Thursday against the 49ers? That's the big question at this point. But things are looking good for Tyler Higbee. Now, Emanuel Forbes, I don't know if you saw the Rams post a video of Emanuel Forbes, the Rams' new cornerback that they claimed from the Washington Commanders. We broke that down. Every listeners will know earlier this week. Well, the Rams posted a video of him, and they got a lot of comments about the way his legs looked, about his weight, and it was just all this stuff. I saw people tweeting, oh, get this guy some street tacos and some burritos. I mean, it's time for him to put on weight and to get this guy in front of a kitchen table and all this stuff. Look, he's adding muscle, adding weight. He's just a bigger frame. He's a taller guy. I mean, during the NFL draft, there was a lot of talk about the fact that he weighed 166 pounds. But he is 6'1", which he's not a giant, but for a cornerback, I mean, 6'1" is a really good size. You compare it to Tutu Atwell, Tutu is 5'9" and weighs 155 pounds. So who knows what he actually weighs today? He's clearly put on more weight than just weighing 166. And just look, his legs are look on the thin side. But look, I think for him, it's just about going and taking advantage of what this Rams team can do for you. That's optimize you. And he's going to benefit from being in these zones. Chris Shula said that they were in love with him in the draft a couple of seasons ago. So that to me says that they already have a plan in place to try to utilize him, right? I mean, some guy at that size, it's no surprise why he would struggle in man coverage, and that's what the Commanders were asking him to do. So we'll see how quickly they can get him up to speed. But I think that the best thing is that you are getting a cornerback that has shown that, hey, he's a ball hawk. He is someone who has a nose for the football. And if you can hit on him and he can help your boundary cornerback situation, well, that's what this Rams team needs. So I'm still excited about the idea of Emanuel Forbes. I mean, you're basically getting a first-round talent for nothing, right? It's a no-risk type of pickup for the Rams, and we'll see how quickly they can get him in. But like I said earlier this week, I'm very encouraged from what I heard about how he looks and how he feels in practice. Is extremely excited to be here. The Rams are extremely excited to have him, and I would not be surprised to see him have a impact on this team down the stretch. In fact, if I had to bet on it, I would, just because they traded for him for a reason. And you saw last week Akel Witherspoon not getting any snaps, right? So they clearly want to address that position quickly, and I think they did that here with Emanuel Forbes. The upside's there, the ceiling's there. The question is, can you realize that potential with this Rams organization that has a rich history? I mean, Austin Corbett, I mean, list goes on and on. Guys you bring in from other teams that weren't utilized in the best way to optimize that player's talent. You throw them in this organization, and you can take advantage of what they do best and his skill set. I think they're certainly going to do that with Emanuel Forbes. But coming up next, we're diving back into the Bills-Rams Week 14 matchup. A lot of people think it's going to be a blowout. A lot of people think that, oh, it's going to be a Bills home game. Yes, you're probably going to see almost 50% Bills fans. That's nothing new. They're prepared for that. It's not going to scare this Rams team away. So we're going to look at the key matchups that will ultimately determine if the Rams can pull off that upset. That's coming up next on Locked On Rams. All right, I know you're like me and your holiday shopping list is, let's just say, far from complete. Well, if that's the case, I've got the perfect gift for the passionate sports fans in your life. Perhaps you've heard of Ice Shaker. Ice Shaker is now officially licensed with the NFL, NHL, NBA, NCAA, and Major League Baseball, and will make the ideal gift. Created by and used by the Gronkowski brothers, Ice Shakers has sold over 1 million bottles. They have changed the game with workout bottles, and this is the gift you've been looking for. store. Go to iceshaker.com and use the code LOCKEDONNFL at checkout to save 25% off your order. Now, since I was sent one of these, I've used it every single day. And it's not just the detailing, which is incredible. You got all kinds of Rams logos. You got the Rams horns right in the front, but it's the functionality. You've got kitchen-grade stainless steel that won't absorb odor like the plastic bottles do. It's just an incredible product, and the agitator works as the patented twisted agitator that breaks up powders, but it's silent when you shake it instead of the annoying ball. You guys know what I'm talking about. If you've been to the gym, that ball, you shake it up, makes all that annoying noise. That's not the case. It's third-party tested, will hold ice for 30-plus hours. It's customizable as well, and your order will be incredible when you get it. So order your team-branded bottles today at iceshaker.com and use code LOCKEDONNFL for 25% off your order. Ice Shakers, show your support for your teams with the best branded workout bottles on the market. Ice Shakers. All right, let's talk about FanDuel. NFL fans, you can start this season with a big return on FanDuel, of course, America's #1 sportsbook. If you get a hunch in the middle of the game and you think now may not be a bad time to get in there and check out all the latest odds, you can view them and live play-by-play. And, of course, there's so much more on the same page where you're placing your bet. So we're going to get you started at FanDuel with $200 in bonus bets. That's guaranteed when you play your first $5 bet. Let me say it again. $200 in bonus bets guaranteed when you place your first $5 bet. Now let's take a look at what's going on with the Rams this weekend. Of course, they're hosting the Buffalo Bills at home. They're currently 4.5-point underdogs. The over-under is set at 49.5. And you're going to find all this kind of stuff and so much more over at FanDuel. So go to FanDuel.com and download the FanDuel app on your phone, and they're going to get you started with $200 in bonus bets guaranteed when you place your first $5 bet. And we are off and running here on Locked On Rams. Thank you for making Locked On Rams your first listen every single weekday. Free and available wherever you get your podcast. Locked On Rams, part of Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Also, a special shout out to those everyday listeners out there watching and listening to every single episode of Locked On Rams. Cannot tell you how much we appreciate that, how much it means to us. And the good thing, too, is when you watch, you listen every day, you won't miss a thing about your Los Angeles Rams. But here in our second segment, we're going to take a look at some of these key matchups that will ultimately determine if the Rams can pull off this upset. If the Rams win these matchups, I think there's a good chance they could pull off the upset. So here are the ones you have to be looking for. The first one is the interior of the Rams defensive line going up against the guards of the Buffalo Bills. If the Bills offensive line has a weakness, it's definitely inside at the guard spots. You got Kobe Turner and Braden Fisk. They have been monsters. We saw the game that Braden Fisk had last week. Kobe Turner has been doing it for almost 2 years this season. And now you look at this matchup, they have a chance to do damage. Torrance for the Bills, Osiris Torrance, he's allowed 29 pressures this season. David Edwards has allowed 19 pressures. 29 is the most, 19 is right behind him. So if you can get pressure on the inside, well, then you can allow guys like Jared Verse and Byron Young and Michael Hoyt to try to contain Josh Allen and keep him in the pocket as much as possible. Because the thing with Josh Allen, he's extremely dynamic. He's extremely tough to bring down. He's strong, and he's continued to get better, and he's continued to evolve in the way that he picks his spots and when to break the pocket, when to keep it on the ground and run for first down. So that is a major key right there. If you can take advantage of that matchup, find a way to get some pressure up the middle, then you make it a possibility to try to, at the very least, slow down and contain Josh Allen. So, second big matchup, Puka Nacua versus Rasul Douglas. Because Puka Nacua, he's been great since he's been back, but last week he had 5 catches for 56 yards, had the big touchdown against the Saints. The Rams didn't have too many possessions, right? They're efficient with the pass game. I think you're going to see more opportunities for Puka Nacua this week. And Rasul Douglas, he's allowed a completion rate at 75% this season. He's given up 381 yards. Also leads the team in the secondary with how many touchdowns he's given up, which is 3. And Benford's their best cornerback. So when he has this Douglas matchup, he's got to win it. They've got to take advantage of that. That's what you want to see, those big gainers, those big chunk plays, those explosives, if you can get them from Puka Nacua in those matchups. And you also want to see him take advantage of that if you see that in the red zone. So, look, in this game, we know that the Bills, top to bottom, have a better and more experienced roster. But in a game where you're a 4.5-point underdog in the Los Angeles Rams, the way to close that talent gap is your superstars, your best players, they have A games. They have A-plus games. Puka Nacua is a star. Let's see him play like a superstar. Matthew Stafford, when he's right, he is a superstar, right? So Puka Nacua has a really good opportunity to show out against the Bills and make some big plays and keep this Rams team in it throughout and hopefully put them in a good spot where at the very least you're in this game in the fourth quarter. If you're in this game in the fourth quarter, we've seen this Rams team go toe-to-toe with some of the best teams in the NFL. I mean, look at the Detroit Lions' first game of the season on the road. The key is really putting the pressure on the Bills and making sure that you give Matthew Stafford and Sean McVay an opportunity to make plays late, and Puka Nacua could be a big part of that. Now, next big matchup you want to look for is Quentin Lake versus Khalil Shakir. Now, Shakir is Josh Allen's go-to guy. He is his favorite weapon to go to. He has 16 more targets than any other player on the Buffalo Bills. And Quentin Lake, he's become really the Rams' de facto slot corner. I mean, he's gotten that slot corner play more than anyone at this point, especially in the key matchups. And look, we know that Quentin Lake, he's really a born safety, but he has the athleticism. He has the requisite tools to go out there and cover fast and quick receivers on the inside. And Khalil Shakir presents a tough matchup, but Quentin Lake, when he's at its best, when he's put in good situations that he can make plays, we know that he has the potential to go and try to neutralize him. So, yeah, that's a big one. That is a massive one to look for, is what will Khalil Shakir's stat line look like at the end of the game? We look at this box score, because Josh Allen has completed 85% of his passes to Shakir. You got Amari Cooper, but his favorite weapon is to go to Shakir. So that's the guy to look for, and we'll see if Quentin Lake is up to the task. Next matchup to look for is the linebackers versus James Cook, because it's a Bills team that can also run the football very well, but also James Cook, they like to throw him out of the backfield. He has been targeted 32 times this season. It's the fourth most on the team. So James Cook, fourth most targets on the team. And the way to feel good about this is the fact that Roseboom, he's really playing well there now. He's really playing his best football of the season at this part. And I think when you look at the combination of Roseboom and Omar Speights, the athleticism that those guys have in tandem and just working together to try to get the job done, that's going to be a big key right there, is when they go to James Cook out of the backfield, do you wrap up? The Rams, they've struggled tackling in space during stretches this season. Do you try to minimize those opportunities that the Bills will have? Can you keep those gains to a minimum and avoid those missed tackles where they're adding yards to those plays and trying to get in the end zone? So look, James Cook, a very dynamic player, tough to bring down. He's elusive. He's versatile. But like I said, Roseboom playing his best football of the season. Omar Speights, a lot of potential as a rookie. He's shown those flashes. He has shown why the Rams were so high on him when he went to LSU before that Oregon State, and then he enters the Rams roster, and he's really made a name for himself, and they're really high on his future. So, yeah, not only is it James Cook, but also you've got Ty Johnson and Ray Davis. They got formidable running backs on the Bills, so it'll be up to Roseboom and Speights to get the job done. And not going to be easy. Of the matchups we talked about so far, this is definitely one that they clearly have a talent advantage of and an experience advantage of, but still, you feel good about where those two guys are at this stage of their season. All right, the next big matchup you need to be looking out for is right tackle Rob Havenstein versus outside linebacker Greg Rousseau. Now, Rob Havenstein has been great since he's been back, filling that void. He's been a rock really throughout his entire career with the Los Angeles Rams and previously the St. Louis Rams. But Havenstein is going to have his hands full because Rousseau, he's their best edge rusher. He has 50 pressures on the season. That's the most on the team. The second most is Ed Oliver, who has 23. So when they're getting pressure from the edge, it is from Greg Rousseau, and this is a Buffalo team that does not like to blitz a ton. They get pressure from their front four. They are 16th in pressure rate at 22.5 on the season, but they've only blitzed 76 times. So that's 17.4%. So I mean, this is a team that's only blitzing 17.4% of the time, but they are still able to get pressure on the quarterback, and a lot of that comes from the defensive line. But you're also going to see it, and hopefully this is a Rams team that can try to neutralize Rousseau in any way they can. But Rob Havenstein's going to be up for the task, but you're going to have to definitely single out him and try to minimize his production on the day. But coming up next, we got some predictions, some more keys. Can the Rams really pull off this upset over the Bills? That's coming up next on Locked On Rams. And a reminder that this show is sponsored by Omaha Steaks. Nothing delivers comfort and joy quite like the unrivaled quality and taste of Omaha Steaks. It's guaranteed perfection in every single bite, and right now you can save on unforgettable gifts with 50% off site-wide at omahasteaks.com. Plus, score an extra $30 off with promo code NFL. With 5 generations of experience, they consistently deliver the world's best steak experience, and the gifting experts at Omaha Steaks have made it easy to deliver the perfect gift with thoughtfully curated gift packages featuring gourmet favorites. From legendary steaks to mouth-watering desserts and more, save 50% off site-wide for a limited time at omahasteaks.com. Plus, our listeners get an extra $30 off with promo code NFL. That's 50% off at omahasteaks.com and an extra $30 off with promo code NFL. And a friendly reminder that today's episode is brought to you by our friends over at Skylight Frames. Now, are you missing someone this holiday season and want them to be a part of your festivities from afar? Do your loved ones live far away but wish they could be close to you? Maybe gift giving isn't your love language. You overthink it and wind up with something disappointing or nothing at all? Well, I've got the perfect gift for you. Skylight Frame is the touchscreen digital photo frame your whole family will love. Upload thousands of photos with your phone and watch them appear in seconds. It's so easy to use. Setup takes less than 60 seconds. Seamless sharing. Invite friends and family to easily share photos via the free Skylight mobile app or email. No account or subscription required. You can add new photos straight from your phone, from everywhere, from anywhere, and you can enjoy them instantly. It only takes a tap on your phone to send new photos to a frame across the country. It's the fastest, easiest way to keep loved ones in the loop. They'll feel so much more connected with you. And now, as a special limited time offer for our listeners, get $20 off your purchase at Skylight Frames when you go to skylightframe.com/NFL. That's skylightframe.com/NFL. Get $20 off your purchase now at skylightframe.com/NFL. And we are back here on Locked On Rams. Thank you for making Locked On Rams your first listen every single weekday. Free and available wherever you get your podcast. Locked On Rams, part of Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. So really, can you slow down Josh Allen? Can you find a way to put up enough points against this Bills defense? You got one of the better defenses in the NFL. You got one of the best offenses in the NFL. You definitely can lose this game and still win the division and make the playoffs. So this isn't a make or break elimination game for the Rams. But if you could find a way to win this game, man, it would help your chances. Man, you could really feel really good about where you're at. Because if you could beat the Bills on Sunday and then back that up by beating the 49ers on Thursday, your playoff chances would go above 50% with just a few more games to play after that. And right now, the Rams have a 24% chance of making the playoffs. That goes down to 18% if they lose to the Bills. But the good news is if you beat the Bills, you go up to 36%. So you look at those odds right there. That tells you if you win, your odds go up by 12%. If you lose, your odds go down by 6%. So that's always a good thing. Anytime your odds don't catastrophically drop and plummet after a loss, and they only boost significantly when you win, that tells you that the way the schedule lines up, the matchups that you have down the stretch, you're still going to have a chance to make the playoffs because you still got games against the 49ers, the Cardinals, and the Seahawks, division opponents. You also play the Jets as well. But I think with this Bills matchup, yes, the Bills 9-5 against the Rams all time. 2022, they spoiled ring night after Super Bowl 56. But I like where this Rams team is. I think you've seen young players get better and emerge throughout this season. You have an offense that is getting healthier, that's getting better, that has Matthew Stafford equipped with his best version of his weapons all season long. I think one of the big things for me in this one is, can you run the football? Because if there is an area that you can try to take advantage of against the Bills, you can do it on the ground a little bit. And Kyren Williams had 104 yards on 15 carries last week. Blake Corum, 42 yards and 8 carries. It was his best game in the NFL so far. And the Bills, 30th in the NFL in yards per carry allowed at 4.9. So you look at the Bills versus the 49ers. Jordan Mason had almost 5 yards per carry. So, yeah, if you look at EPA and other things, that kind of tells you the strategy that the Bills like to use on defense and why those numbers are up. But that doesn't change the fact that the Rams have 2 good running backs, that the Rams have a more physical running game that can take advantage on the ground. I think that's really the number one thing for me. If you see Kyren Williams getting 104 yards on 15 carries, if you see Blake Corum getting over 50 yards, I think you're going to see more possessions and more situations where Matthew Stafford can show off what he can do with Puka and Cooper Kupp, and Demarcus Robinson can step up because you're taking advantage of Kupp and Cooper getting all that attention, right? So I still think that this Rams team is due for a signature game, that they're due for a game where, look at the roster, right? It's the second youngest roster in the NFL. And you've had guys step up. You've had young players really thrusted into roles where they've had to perform at a young age in the NFL. I mean, Aaron Donald retires. Kobe Turner's got to be that guy in year 2. Byron Young's got to be that guy. Jared Verse, Brain Fist, they've got to be those guys. Big Bobby Brown's been great stopping the run. The safety plays been really good. The boundary corners have had their issues at times. But I think when you look at Sean McVay, Matthew Stafford, and Cooper Kupp and Puka Nacua, these guys get up for big games. And yes, the Eagles, that was a bad matchup. That was a matchup where they did not come through in a big spot, but you beat the 49ers earlier in the season. You beat the Vikings at home. You went toe-to-toe with the Detroit Lions. I think this one is going to be a lot closer than a lot of the experts think. Now, will the Rams win? My heart tells me, yeah, the Rams are going to win a close one. Joshua Carty, I mean, you're going to need him to do a better job kicking the football and making his field goal kicks. But I do think the Rams are going to cover. I do think the Rams are going to cover. I said on the preview show, and I'll say it again. Are they going to win? You know what? It's tough to predict a victory against the hottest team in the NFL. I mean, right? I mean, would you rather tell you they're going to win and then then they lose, or you tell you they're going to lose and then they win, right? So I'm confident saying they're going to cover. Now, that's where I'm at right now. I think the Rams cover, and it would be great to see a victory. If it doesn't happen, though, you still got a chance to make the playoffs. But they're really in a good situation where this is not an elimination game for them or anything like that. And then go out there and play free. And if you get a lead early, the Bills' 2 losses this season have come on the road. So how about that? The Rams, you cover with a chance for an upset on Sunday. But I'll throw out a prediction. For the Rams. I'm going 31-30. 31-30. I'll take the Rams winning. You got to win one of those games you're supposed to lose. It's the NFL. It's any given Sunday. Got a Christmas tree today, so the vibes are high. Okay, all I want for Christmas is a postseason berth. a couple wins in the postseason. Hell, even a Super Bowl appearance if we're dreaming big. But I'll start with a little stocking stuffer against the Bills. But that's going to do it for this episode of Locked On Rams. My name is Doug McCain. You can follow me on X and Instagram at DMAC_LA. And until next time, whose house? It's Locked On Rams house.